So, I will not go into the technical details, but the cost of poor HSE performance, as we all know, that we lost quite a lot of millions of working days every year. Thousands and thousands of people die. Millions of workers actually they self-report suffering, and from a work-related illness, several hundred thousand workers are injured at work, and many workers are fatally injured almost every working day. We were talking with a group of contractors, and we said, okay, look, your guys are not performing in a safe manner. They are just wearing the flip-flops and they are doing the construction work. So what will happen if this guy is injured? He said, you will get the other guy. So that was a simple answer. So that's where our mindset is. I will share with you very quickly some of the safety performance which actually happened in our oil and gas industry, and what we found that there are so many things which change every year, and luckily they focused on the road journey, because that was one of the leading cause of injuries and death and fatalities and loss of property in our oil and gas industry operations. So, but now what they have found is now that the driving operation is really at a low side, and there are some other areas, for example, caught between or explosions and burns. These have taken over instead of the driving incidents. While I will make my case, I would like to let you know that the governments, the developed countries where these laws are actually enforced in a better way, there are some success stories, and I would call them a success because they have made people liable and accountable for what they are doing and the result of the performance. One of the company was fined a total of £245,000 in relation to removal of asbestos. And the reason was that the company employed 10 mostly young temporary workers, and they were not trained or equipped to safely remove the asbestos, nor warned of its risk. So, on complaint, they were fined £245,000. So it was a part of the risk management. Similarly, a manufacturing company was heavily fined, and MD was put behind bars for 12 months when a worker died because it was caught between an unguarded machine. And similarly, another director was put behind jail, and the company was heavily fined and actually stopped from working when an employee died during maintenance of a machine which was not properly isolated. So the monitoring and competency advice, training and supervisions. So the message I would like to give you here is that these are the cases which actually which were made public, and it's only because the laws which these countries, when they generated, they enforced them and made people liable for their actions. So this is very important. Now I would like to compare myself, our country, with this. We have a vision, about 2025, right? Okay, so 2025 vision, we want to be among the first, the top 20 economies of the world, which definitely we will be, and after that in 47 we will be among the 10, but where we stand now. I will take it from the Human Development Index, which is the index which explains about the life expectancy, per capita income, and education of people. So it was basically, this was made by Dr. Mahbubul Haq, and then years and now it's been accepted as the best indicator of human performance. We stand 147 out of 188 nations, right? So 147. Just to give you a comparison, by the way, Bangladesh is 142 and India is 130. So we are far below them. So the point I'm trying to make here is that we cannot take HSE, occupational health and safety, in isolation. It's a part of the integrated system of our overall performance as a nation. We cannot say that we will be able to perform excellent in HSE, whereas other indicators are actually going down. So we are a part of it, and we are affected by whatever performances happens in other sectors. As Naeem said, most of our HSE regulations are inherited from British Raj. So we are having very old regulations. Mines Act 1923, Factories Act 1934, Petroleum Act 1934. So we have got quite a lot of improvement to improve our strategy on that. Um, some good comprehensive laws were made, but their enforcement was very inadequate. As we mentioned about the Safety in Drilling and Production Regulations 1974, and I know very well that actually in many companies still the drilling crew is using flip-flops, and they have got the mini televisions in the zone 0 where actually they are not supposed to have any electrical stimulus down there. And so these are there and they are not very well implemented. Then the responsible parties in liable in major HSE incidents are not held liable and accountable for what actually happened in the area. Naeem mentioned about the fire incident in 2012, Baldia factory incident, right? 258 people died there. We had the Marbella Tower collapse, in which actually more than 78 people died and hundreds were injured. And then we have the a big incident in Lahore where a shoe factory was under fire once again, and more than 25 to 30 people actually died there, burned alive. Now the thing is that, and the owners of these factories were put on exit list, and very next day they were out of the country. So that's where we are, and we need to be very careful about it. I must say that actually our leading sector is the private sector, and this is because of their business incentive that they are making all this progress. So, occupational health, OSHA has 18,001 certification, quality management certification, and then the ISO 14001 certification. This is a requirement of these importers who are importing our products outside Pakistan. And this thing actually compels the owners and the businessmen to conform to certain standards. Otherwise, if there is no accountability, they know what will happen next. They will not purchase anything from them. So there is a very strong stimulus for them to do all this and spend some money and give resources to the HSE personnel. So that's where we are. One thing we should keep in our mind, that we have got like 10 and 15 and 30 different departments which are working in an organization. And we cannot take HSE in isolation. We had been trying to take this in isolation, and what has happened is that in the absence of strong HSE regulation, the higher-ups, the big boys, they didn't have any compulsion to listen to us and to listen to other guys, so that's where we are. So the important areas where we can actually focus on this is basically as an HSE guys, and then I will come to regulations very quickly for my last slide. Optimal risk-based approach. We have got a big wish list. We should be very careful about it. As we grow in our experience and as we go up and up, our wish list starts increasing and increasing. So we should be careful about it, and it should be an optimal approach. Training. Everybody emphasizes on trainings here. So we should be careful about the trainings. There are many other areas where we actually can improve HSE at national level and in our company level, and investigate and learn the lessons and support government in strategies for smartly implementing the laws. So we are the professionals, government people, we all know that their deployments are, somebody was telling me that actually if it's an OSDs, the officers on special duties are put in the areas where they have to deal with the occupational health and safety laws, which is not good. So we are dealing with the guys who are already frustrated, they want to leave the area and go into some actual place where they can make their fortune. They are in the occupational health and safety area where they are not doing anything and they just want to leave. So you can understand what type of challenge we really face in our organization. So recommendations. The first thing actually I very strongly reinforce it, which Naeem has just said. We have to build our nation. So we have to make occupational health and safety a part of our curriculum. The kids should understand what we mean here and how should they take it on. If you will start learning this at school level, then it will be in their mind and they will be actually developed in a more safer citizen and more aware citizen on this subject. Our HSE laws need to be reviewed, and we can support the government to actually review these old British laws where they call the 3 laterals for 300 people, something like that in the acts. So we have to change them and make them fit to purpose. So that's where we can support, and ASCC can be a very good platform for this. Seminars and workshops. In addition to this seminar, what we have just done, I think we need to conduct sort of the line directory where we can invite the government organizational people also and can sit on these areas maybe on monthly or quarterly basis, where instead of having such a big arranged seminar, we can have a meeting anywhere and the members can, we can take the ownership of the government people, contributions, all these things. Sufficient resources should be allocated for reverse monitoring and enforcement by regulatory authorities. We need to inform them. They don't have the resources. They don't have the capacity to monitor. And as we said, most of the time, they're not really interested also. Accountability, very important. Accountability should be made a part of it. We do something wrong, we should make it accountable. The people should be made accountable for this. And the government should actually participate in this accountability process. HSE trainings, all of you witnessed explosion in the training institutes outside, and the quality of training is very different. So my recommendation is that the HSE trainings should be regulated and minimum criteria should be set by the regulatory authorities on this, because we see our people going outside abroad and sometimes they really fail, which is not good. They get the same certification as the same guy from the other country, they're performing very well. Actually professional platforms, so as I said, we need to have more frequent meetings instead of having big seminars. There should be some arrangement where we can sit on a cup of tea and can discuss so many things together. So that was a quick and brief speech from my side, and I will be able to join you later during the discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sujat Yunus. The points he has raised are of